Satisfactory 1.0 came out. Satisfactory 1.0 is filled with the type of freaks that I'm streaming it, and I'm like, how many of you are playing Satisfactory 1.0 and not watching the stream, and you just have me on in the background for background noise when you're running your conveyor belts? And it was like 99% of the chat.
Now, those games don't have any, like, you're not connecting to other people's games in any way. There's no multi-anything, right?
So in Satisfactory, you can totally play co-op.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, there is co-op built-in.
But that just sounds like a reason to get mad at other people for fucking up your efficiency.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like, so here's the thing. You could have up to 4 players in Satisfactory, and you could be like, all right. Like if you have goal-oriented co-op, it can work really well. So it can be like, I'll use Vel because I played Satisfactory with my friend Vel a little bit. I'll be like, Vel, can you get the coal generation up and running? And that's the only criteria. I'm gonna go work on reinforced steel plates over here. Then eventually, at the end of Vel's job over there, there'll just be a conveyor belt that shoots out coal.
Yeah.
How and ugly and dumb and gross it looks over there doesn't matter as long as eventually there's just a conveyor belt that shoots out coal.
Now, is this a situation where automatically another person is going to be less efficient than if you were to quickly
no, APM
that yourself? No,
because like the part of the weird annoyance and joy of a game like Satisfactory is that you are placing every smelter, every miner, every conveyor belt, every power pole, every power generator, every storage device yourself. And so actually building out your factory takes like a very significant amount of time, and like placing it and making sure all the belts hit correctly. And then the fast belts are feeding into the slow splitters so that you don't get a jam and shit like that. So like, no, it is probably like double the efficiency.
Okay, because like
you can go 4 times as fast with 4 people.
Because in a much simpler situation, I can imagine having to split control of playing like SimCity with somebody else, and very quickly there would be words that couldn't be taken back.
Yeah. Why are you building your residential district?
There would be
so close to my factories.
There would be words very quickly, you know. So this sounds like a bad idea on paper. Okay.
Yeah, no. As long as you do it goal oriented, like, you know, goal would be like, hey, I have all these materials and I need a way to get these materials to the other side of the map. Can you, friend, build a train system or a truck system or drone system just to get this shit from point A to point B?
Okay.
Use any materials you want, just make it go from one to the other, right? And then there's then like working on like a singular task, like, hey, we need to get all the ore out of this one spot together. That would be constantly like, you'd be overlapping your bullshit onto each other, and it'd be very annoying. But there's always more to build upwards, though. It is fascinating to see like are you familiar with the term of spaghetti building?
No.
I guess I'd call it.
No.
Okay, so if you imagine like a factory, like in a building game, you'd have like your mining node, and then you would have a conveyor that goes to a smelter, and then you'd have a conveyor that goes to a fabricator, and then that goes into a storage box, and it goes 1 1 1 1 1 in a nice line. Or maybe like if you know, one mining node could like fit 5 smelters, it'd be 1 miner and then 1 2 3 4 5, and then those would go to 1 2 3, you know, etc., and it'd be nice and orderly, right? But the way that you actually build these things are you build like 4 of them, and you're like, shit, I need 8 more, and I don't know where to put them. I'll put them over here, but now I have to link them, so I'm just gonna drag the fucking thing over here.
Bad planning. Yeah.
And then you do that like on 10 different things, and now every single part of your fucking thing is underneath and over and going in a turn and a squiggle, and it looks like spaghetti.
Yeah, yep. Bad plan. I mean, shit. Bad Protoss pylon placement.
Yeah.
And
so when it gets real spaghetti, you run into a logistical problem, which not many games actually help you with, which is, or make you deal with, which is, okay, I need reinforced steel plates. Where are those in this system? Where is the node? Where are they going? Where are they being stored? And you have to probably jump onto a conveyor belt and run around until you see them going past you, and follow your spaghetti to wherever you decided to point it.
Yeah, even so, like the moment I had to expand my bases in Pal World, I ran into that like placement efficiency problem, where you're like, okay, my immediate needs for this base are, I need this to be mining for whatever, mine rock, wood, etc. So you build all that by necessity first, and then a couple rounds later, coming back to it and like expanding it outwards, you kind of like are like, fuck, I have to scrap and redo this all over again, because this is super inefficient for where the things are sleeping, where they're eating, and then where they're carrying and doing the labor, etc. And then I imagine, in fact, Satisfactory, I was going to say
Factorio, right.
Satisfactorio.
Yeah, no, that yeah.
But I imagine that these are also the kind of games where like you can just take a look online and see people discussing it and immediately realize how insanely inefficient your entire game plan has been till now.
So Satisfactory has like, because it's all in 3D, it has this great thing where people post videos of like the most optimized possible perfect, like aesthetically designed thing, right?
Yeah.
So like I'll send you a picture of what, like, oh, that's like a nicely ordered production line with everything all in a row, and it splits right, but that's not what you end up with, right? What you end up with, because you never know what parts you're ever going to need when you're going through the game, you don't know what's needed for what, you end up with something more like this. Now, if people who can't see this, I just typed in the phrase Satisfactory,
nonsense spaghetti. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, where's the copper wire going? I gotta
underpasses and overpasses of shit, just all chaotically placed.
And then your fuse blows and you realize that you're actually underpowered when everything turns on simultaneously, and you have to build an entire power generation plant, but there's no power sources anywhere near you, so you got to go like 4 kilometers over to find a new coal or new nuclear fission, and then you have to wire the power all the way back to your fucking abomination and hope it's enough.
Now show me what the inside of your PC tower looks like for one that you've built yourself.
Absolutely. It's the same thing.
Let me see.
I didn't build that myself.
Yeah.
I got a nice man put together. The cables look
yeah,
nice.
you did. I want to see the one you built.
I know. I want to do it.
How many clips? How many ties? You know,
Zero.
Zero. Literally not one. Yeah, like, we can squeeze this fucking cable between the hard drive and the other one and the SSD.
Yeah, so Satisfactory is very satisfying. It is a pure, like, it's like running your own episode of How It's Made for like between 100 hours and 4,000 hours. And like, it's the kind of game where you discover a hidden hard drive that teaches you how to make screws out in like right out of an iron ingot instead of using rods, and you go, oh my god, cast screws, this changes everything. I gotta tear the whole
tear the whole thing down
and fucking reorient everything you know. So,
and how much time and or resources does it take when you have already built up to like to tear down and rearrange versus like discovering for the first time?
Okay, so that is like the most fun question to answer about this, which is, how much time do you got tonight?
Fuck.
how much time do you have before you're gonna go to bed tonight?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, it is. I remember we were talking about audio engineering a while ago, and you said the phrase, there is no upper limit to how much better an audio engineer can make your thing sound. With Satisfactory, it's like there is no upper limit to how much cleaner and more efficient and nice and placed and perfect it can get.
It's your tap out point.
If you want to be crazy, you can start running the Satisfactory calculator.
Oh boy.
which will start doing the math for you.
Okay.
But then you still have to place them on the geometry of the world and get the power running.
Now, I say, oh boy, and react like, wow, as if I'm not opening and running the Balatro calculator on a tab in the background, because there's a Balatro calculator for optimizing and figuring out which positionings, you know?
Did you hear that they've discovered a new Balatro hack?
Which one's
there's a new secret to Balatro with the misprint Joker.
Yes! If you look at the flickering fucking digits, the misprint Joker gives you the gibberish, is actually telling you what the next drawn card will be. And if you don't have it in your hand, you can still go to the collection and see it, and it'll still tell you at any time what the next one single card drawn will be. Fucking
so
nuts.
Disgusting.
Fucking
That's
crazy.
So
what a game. Yes. But no, it is the thing that I've started turning to when I'm on a run that is like super rare and has taken a really long time to get to, and I'm like, fuck.
Bunch of fancy multiplier additional ones, and you're like, I don't know what the good order for these.
And the difference between exactly this one dragged over that way or not, you're like, wait, which would net the most? Because the math is literally.
I would actually, genuinely, maybe this is kind of spoiling the fun a little bit, but I would actually like it if at the top of your card thing, it gave you like a number at the end. Like I would like
a total calculator,
the card list
modifier
to show you at the end of all of these cards, assuming the number you start with is 1, what is the number you will get at the end?
Yes, it doesn't have to be an optimize button or anything like that.
No, I just want to be able to move it and be like, oh, that's worse.
That calculate
and,
exactly.
oh, that's
yes,
worse.
yes. And so that's literally, and if it's the last hand that's going to be the game over or not, then I go, fuck.
Oh
and
my God, somebody in the chat says they think that's planned for the next update.
Yeah.
For when it hits the mobile. Fucking yes.
Because the score preview is not the right idea at all. You know, it's just based on the hand, and you're just like,
well, the score preview is worthless after like a couple blinds, man.
Yeah,
like it's
it's
infinite.
And on top of that, like the whole malt versus bits chips is like a balancing act that is actually very, very tight, and there's a point tough where one surpasses the other, and it's kind of invisible where that moment is, you know? So, yeah.
You want to have a little bit of chips, but you definitely need that malt.
Yeah.
But you need chips to start.
So, anyway, all this to say that I understand pulling out the calculator and you know, using it sometimes to solve these issues.
Personally, I think that's no fun. And this is going to sound strange because I'm not a big math guy, but I was running like, I wanted to make like copper wire and cable, which both come from a copper mining resource. And I'm like, okay. And I just looked at it and I was like, okay, I need one copper node that's pure, kicks out 120 ore, which on a Mark II belt can go into a splitter and split between 260 belts, which can split between 4 smelters, which go 30 at a time, and then I can rewire the 2 smelters into a combined merged belt, which will kick into us in. Then I'll get copper here, and I'll get copper wire there, and then that should work out. And when you eventually get the math right in your head on that first shot, and you turn the thing on and all the little pieces go down all the little things and merge into all the right belts correctly and split in all, and it works.
Yes.
You're like,
yeah.
But most of the time that doesn't happen. Most of the time what happens is you do all that shit, and then one side of the machine is completely full and the other side is fucking empty.
Yeah, okay.
And you're like, I've totally fucked up the load balance here.
But the downside for that fail state is essentially you got to go do it again and kind of like, you know, start over.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these down,
audit.
And then I'm going to rewire it.
Audit and find the mistake, right? But you see, what I'm describing, and this is where I'm like, it's not taking the fun out if it's a matter of like, what is the fail state here? And if it's like you're calculating, for example, your build in a Souls game, and then you're like, so if I have this exact balance between a quality build of this, and then you're like, and so I think this is the right thing to put on this weapon, and then I waste a slab on the fucking wrong weapon.
Darn.
That fucking sucks, right? That's
right. And this is the part that makes Satisfactory actually fun to play. You want to guess what the fail state of Satisfactory is? It's a trick question. There is no fail state. All
time.
resources are infinite.
Yeah, okay.
The factory will run forever. As soon as you get off like biofuel power generation, you get to hydropower or something. Energy is infinite.
Okay.
Resources are infinite. All enemies that you use for resources respawn quite quickly.
There is no threshold you must stay up with by a certain time point, otherwise the game is over. Right.
No, take your time.
Yeah.
If you die, you can just go get your stuff, or you can just turn off like loss of materials.
Okay.
Like you can turn off corpse runs.
Then that's completely understandable. If I'm playing a game
there's no timer.
Yeah. If I'm playing a game that has a loss state and it takes a while to get the perfect iteration, then you know, do what you got to do, man.
The on top of that is that so there's no timer and all resources are infinite, but also when you dismantle any thing that you've built, because you're going to do that a lot, it refunds you 100% of the materials.
Wow.
So
that's
you
nice.
can just be like, oh, this setup again. Is weird. I shouldn't have 6 feeding into 4. I should have 3 feeding into 5. Dismantle the whole thing and then just go bop, 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 bop.
I mean, to be fair, like I can't think of any like it's almost never. I can't think of a time where I enjoy the fact that this game punishes you for trying something else out.
I think full respect should be everything. Everything.
Yeah, every game ever should not punish you for refunding something.
Care.
It
makes me anxious at the skill tree because I will make the wrong decision first.
You know,
I fucking will.
Even like selling a weapon back at a reduced rate or whatever. It's like, what? Like, why? Why not just let people try to have fun? You know, there's no reason for it.
The way that Satisfactory gives you challenge is really simple, and I really like it because the challenge is time. So phase 1 in Satisfactory is you have to make something called smart plating, and you need to send that into what's it called? Orbital elevator? No, space elevator. Those elevators that go. Yeah, okay. You gotta feed 50 smart plates into the space elevator. So you have to build your whole starting area in order to make assemblers, which will take reinforced steel plates and combine them with rotors, which all have multiple pieces, blah, blah, blah. And there's a massive chain. And so by the end of about 7 hours, I built a system that would spit out 5 smart plates a minute, and you need 50. So when I did that, I'm like, okay, I did it. I'm going to clean some stuff up, get some more fuel. In 10 minutes, they'll all go down the belt and do it, right? And then it goes, and it shoots up to space, and you see the space, something in orbit getting built, and it unlocks the new tier of technologies for you to research. And you're like, okay, I did it. I beat phase 1. Phase 2 comes in and goes, okay, the next step, you need 1,000 smart plates. And you need 2 other brand new technologies that are also at the complete end of the manufacturing tree of 10 different things that you haven't even made.
So now set it and fucking forget it and just go the other direction and solve the new problem.
More than that, so I started building a coal generator, and by the time I finished the coal generation plant, or even just the framework for it, I'm up to 300 smart plates just uploading. But for the other 2, it's like the same level of difficulty of the smart plates, but 5 a minute isn't gonna fucking cut it.
Right.
I'm gonna need to raise this whole level of production up, which means you run into new logistical challenges that means I need faster
doubling
belts.
This and doubling,
That means I need faster miners, and up. And by the time you get there, eventually you hit the point where I've gotten everything from the first 2 phases, and they are all feeding into the elevator. I now have a completely separate technological piece of advancement, which means I now have to leave the area I'm in and go and make a completely new factory at the ass end of the map because I need more iron.
Right.
I need more copper. I need more coal. But then you're actually in game 8 kilometers away. And I now need ways to get that shit over here. Here comes trucks, here comes trains, here comes drones, here comes tubes, etc. Or you can just build a 10-kilometer line conveyor belt if you're insane.
But yeah, I guess when you hit that point where you're like, it's not coming out of the ground fast enough,
Then
right?
you need to
Then
research how to make it come out of the ground faster, or find more.
Is it easy to optimize where the slow or missing link is in a chain of command, where you're like, okay, the stockpile of
super is.
Yeah, the stockpile of raw material is massive, but the getting it from point A to point B is the slow part.
It's actually really, really easy, because you look at the system. Like, let's assume it's all in the line, right? You will look at it and go, what conveyor belts are completely full?
Yeah.
Right? This one is like empty. It's shooting out like one a minute.
Okay.
Right? That one is so full the belt isn't even moving.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Then you click on the smelter or whatever, and it will tell you what percentage capacity is it running at. Is it running at anything under 100%? You could throw more shit
That's
at that.
the problem. Right. Okay.
Or is it running at 100% and it's being fed so much shit that you just can't? Then you figure out ways to overclock its production. And I want this smelter running at 200%.
It's funny.
Right?
It's funny. Someone earlier, when we were talking about the cost of like refunding things in game and that being like getting back 100%, and it's like, why should it ever punish you? And someone said immersion. And that just
get the fuck.
But that just made me think, it's like we're so conditioned to walking into a store and selling something back to the store secondhand and getting fucked over so hard in real life that now that being translated to video game economy is like, oh,
that's real.
This is believable now. I'm used to getting fucked over. Thank you, GameStop prices. Yeah.
Yeah. So Satisfactory without perfect refunding would be an unplayable piece of shit.
I would imagine
it would be like a 0 out of 10. It would be so punishing. It would be so mean. And it would take so long.
Just for changing your mind on something.
So so I am not into factory games or sim games or Sim City or anything like that. That is not my jam. This thing is incredible. And it is at 1.0.
So I was about to ask, is this one of those cases where it's like 1.0, what did we do? It's the same thing that you just played, except now it's like advertised and out.
No.
Or was there like a big drop?
So like this is, you know what? I'm going to use the 1.0, a singular 1.0 change to like really sell how the people who play this game, like their brains work. So in the very beginning of the game, you need power, but you don't have anything that generates power. Your hub, like your little base, has what is essentially a leaf burner. It's called a biofuel generator, but it's you put leaves and twigs and wood into it, and it burns it and it makes power, right? It's really bad. It's really inefficient. So the second step is you create what's called a biofuel generator. And a biofuel generator is the same thing. You can make as many of them as you want, right? And they generate much more power. They're much more efficient. And you can feed it leaves, or you can feed it wood, or you can break that down manually yourself, like at a crafting bench, into something called biofuel. Or you can take biomass, or you can turn biomass into biofuel, and each of these burns slower and is more efficient. But at the end of the day, it's really annoying because every time your factory turns off because you run out of like energy, you have to go out and grab a bunch of sticks and twigs and leaves from the ensuing area and then go and put it into the biofuel generator, right? And if you have 10 biofuel generators, you got to go to each single one and fucking put it in, and it's like a massive hassle, right? One of the 1.0 changes they made is they said, hey man, we've added conveyor belts to the back of the biofuel generators. And what this means is that what my old system was, I make 5 biofuels and I just run it until I can get to coal, and it's really annoying, and I'm just running out to grab leaves and jam them in the fucking thing and grab leaves and jam them in the thing, and it's really annoying. Now I have a storage bin, and the storage bin has 2 modes. One is where leaves go in, and one is where wood goes in. Both of them feed out to constructors, which turn that into biomass. Both of those now merge into one thing where all the biomass goes into a third constructor, which turns it into solid biofuel. And then the solid biofuel splits among 4 splitters to 16 biofuel generators. And now I have power. I did the math on it. I have power for like 10 hours.
But wait, the previous version of this, you had to manually walk up to and drop the thing in? Well, that just sounds like a shitty system from beforehand. Does. Yeah.
But that was because
massive
you really
oversight.
want to get to automated power with coal, right? So really, really, really minor changes. Like, did you hear they put a fucking conveyor belt to the back of the biofuel generator? Allow for like huge mechanical, like other like updates. The other thing they added in 1.0 is they added like a pocket dimension that you can just build things out in the wild by just pulling like huge amounts of materials from nowhere. They added the final tiers of technology. They added the final goals, etc.
That first thing you just described is it's kind of like shattering what I thought this game was in a way, because it's like, hold on a minute, I thought the whole point of this game was when you're running at peak efficiency, which again I questionably no upper limit to, you can stand back and do this and watch your thing just go. But what you're saying is, accept that you had to walk around and dump these things in the whole time, even when everything else was going efficiently, which I'm like, well, fuck that. The whole point is that it needs to be going on its own.
And that's why it's so exciting to get to coal power, because when you get to coal power, so the whole, you remember the smart plating thing I said? That's the first step. The second tier enables coal power. And with coal power, you get a mining node and you get a water extractor. And those go into a coal plant, and that will generate electricity automatically forever.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's a level of technology thing once you get past the twigs and leaves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
After that, I believe it's oil. And the thing with oil is that you're piping fluids extremely long distances, which is its own technical problem. And eventually you get to nuclear, at which point the power generation's crazy, but now you have to deal with exporting nuclear waste to a part of the map you don't want to ever live anymore.
Right. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So like there is always something you can't automate until you learn how to automate it. And then you go, fuck yeah, I automated it. Like at a certain point, transport of your character becomes automated with zip lines and vacuum tubes and shit.
But at the highest level, it's not the input that you have to deal with, it's the output, like waste, for example. So it reverses. That's cool. Okay, that makes sense.
It's an incredible game. I would recommend that everybody try it. It's awesome. It's super great. I love it. It is a perfect I don't need to work tomorrow late night game kind of thing. And it's out. It's finally out. It's been in development for 8 years. And it's been in early access for like, I want to say like 6 of those. It's been a bit.
It leaves you with a feeling of satisfaction.
Yes, that's right. Well, I actually I got myself with that, where I'm looking at my fucking little 1.0 factory that I built that sucks, but like I had all the numbers were right, and it was feeding out the things I want. I'm like, wow, this is really satisfying. Boo. Oh yeah, it's been in development for one Concord.
8 years.
And it's out now.
8 years.
Yeah. There's only one type of person I feel bad for, because there's 3 types of people who play this. The people who are like, oh, that looks cool now. The people who play it obsessively all the time and have already like reached tier 5 after a week or whatever. And then the people who picked one of the updates. There were 8 updates, 1 through 8, and went super hard on it for like 200 hours back in like update 5 or 6. And now 1.0 is out, and they're like, oh, it's kind of not as different as I wanted, or
well,
like the Hades problem.
Yeah,
of like
but
I played so much of it.
Yeah.
That.
But then I guess the question was always losing your progress, right?
Yeah.
Which.
Oh yeah, every update would. So the way Satisfactory did it, they'd be like, okay, you're not going to lose your save files. Every update, you're not going to lose your save files.
But if anything breaks, it's not our fault.
but we moved some of the resource nodes around, so many of your factories are now pointing at nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
right.
fucking start over anyway. All right, so that's Satisfactory. I can't recommend it enough. Everyone should try it. Everyone within the sound of my voice should try it.